be seated. To the Mayor of High Wycombe, to our distinguished guests, to our partners from Imperial, Buckinghamshire Healthcare, West London Mental Health, Hounslow and Richmond Community Healthcare NHS Trusts, and from Uxbridge College, to parents, carers, family members and friends of our graduating students, and most especially to our graduating students, welcome to the Bucks Awards Ceremonies 2012. My name is Ruth Farwell and I'm the Vice-Chancellor of the University, and I'm joined on stage this morning by staff from the University and also our visiting professors, Anne Eden, Chief Executive, and Lynn Schwazak, Chief Nurse, both at the Buckinghamshire NHS Trust, Steve Trenchard, Director of Nursing and Patient Experience at the West London Mental Health Trust, Siobhan Gregory, Director of Nursing at the Hounslow and Richmond Community Healthcare NHS Trust, Hugh Dunnicky, Chief Executive of the London Borough of Hillingdon, and epidemiologist Derek Phoebe. These visiting professors are indicative of our close partnerships with the professions linked with the courses at the university, and in particular, nursing and leadership in healthcare. I'm pleased to welcome back to the audience those people who've received honorary awards in previous years, such as Bill Reid, Evelyn Pegley, Roger Jeffcoat, Tom Dean, and Peter Moss. Seated at the table furthest away from me is Professor David Symes, Pro-Vice-Chancellor of the University, and next to him is Dame Christine Beasley, the Chair of our Governing Council, and until she retired early this year, the Chief Nursing Officer for England. This ceremony focuses on the awards being made to the successful students completing courses in nursing, including as assistant practitioners. All of these former students are waiting patiently in the front stalls here at the Swan for their moment in the spotlight when they walk across the stage to shake hands with me and receive their awards. Today is a rite of passage for you in many ways. I know that many of you qualified and have been practicing as nurses since you completed your courses a while ago, but today marks your graduation. So in that sense, it's a rite of passage, an event that marks your progress from one status to another. It feels a bit like that for me today as well, and let me perhaps explain. I mentioned in my introduction that Dame Christine Beasley is the chair of the university's Governing Council. The council is like the governing body of the university, the board of trustees or of non-executive directors, to use the language of the private or not-for-profit sectors respectively. She became chair just about a month ago on the 1st of August, and we're really delighted that she's done so. Dame Christine's predecessor of chair of council, Roy Darby, is behind me on the stage now. So you can see why it's a bit like a rite of passage for me too, being passed from my old chair behind me to my new one to my left. Not that I'm paranoid or anything, but Roy's predecessor, so the person that Roy succeeded as chair, is also here today. Peter Moss is in the audience. I have to say it's a privilege to be working and have worked with all three of them. You will be hearing from Dame Christine as guest speaker a little later, and after awarding the graduates their nursing degrees, I will be awarding Roy an honorary fellowship of the university. We also have instituted a student prize in Roy's name, the Roy Darby Nursing Award for Educational Excellence. This will be awarded annually to the student from any field of nursing who gets the highest mark for the final year project in the BSc Honours programme. Since it relates to performance in the project, it therefore reflects the integrated nature of the programme, being both practiced and theory-focused. This ceremony will see the first occasion on which we will make the award, and when the graduate, who is the first to receive it, comes up on stage, Roy will join me to shake hands and congratulate the successful person. So all in all, this isn't just any normal day. And that's why we're dressed in these rather strange clothes and doing rather strange things like processing. Processions, speeches and gowns are traditional on days like today. But it's not just about doing these things because that's what tradition dictates. It's also about marking the day as special and significant. After all, there aren't that many opportunities when you, the graduating students, can bask in the limelight and congratulate yourselves on what you've achieved. We've done some research on what are the qualities that people, students, staff, and those from outside the university who work with us, or who are our neighbours in the local community, the kind of qualities they ascribe to us. Formal and traditional, we most definitely are not in their view. However, the words they do use to describe us are friendly, supportive, relaxed, and helpful. I hope those words characterise both your time studying with us and also your day-to-day, along with, I suspect, one or two others, pride perhaps, and also a sense of achievement. You've successfully negotiated all of the challenges that your course has flung at you during your time as a student at Bucks, but also you've probably had your lives transformed in many ways during your time here. In the days, months, and years ahead, you'll recall, I'm sure, just what an impact doing your course has had in ways that you may never have imagined. In personal terms, your award has provided you with the right kind of skills and the professionalism needed to enable you to grow personally and develop professionally. But it's more than that. Your increased professionalism can also impact more widely on society and in turn help others to live healthier and happier lives and become more economically and socially active. You are all in a profession which can change lives for the better. There are challenging times ahead, I'm sure, for you, but I hope that as Bucks graduates, you will take these in your stride. For most of you, that first challenge has already been overcome and you are already in employment. The nursing course at Bucks has the highest employment rate 6 months after graduation of all the courses that we offer. However your career progresses from now, I hope that you think that your time at Bucks was extremely important in shaping your lives positively and that you will feel proud of being a Bucks graduate. We're certainly proud of you, and all of us at Bucks wish you every success and happiness in your life and career. The best degree ceremonies are a careful blend. On the one hand, they've an element of formality, as I said earlier. On the other hand, it's about having a good time and celebrating. So 2 final messages from me. The first to graduating students. It's your day, make the most of it. The second is to the others in the audience. Throughout the ceremony, let's go for it and wholeheartedly demonstrate our appreciation of the graduating students and their achievements. We will now start the presentation of the awards.
Vice-Chancellor, we present to you the persons here today and those graduating in absentia to be admitted to the award of Bachelor of Science and Foundation degrees.
By virtue of my authority as Vice-Chancellor and on behalf of Senate, I admit them to their degrees.
We also present to you those receiving the award of Diploma of Higher Education. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Nursing, Catherine Bechu-Wise. Doroto Bannock. Judy Barry. Diane Bennett. Laura Blake. The next graduand is also the first winner of the Roy Darby Nursing Award for Educational Excellence. Deborah Booth. Emma Brown. Charlotte Cozy. Nevera Chingoza. Madeline Cole. Tara Dennehy. Kelly Fry. Rebecca Gabriel. Rico Badamosi. Ilan God. Jane Graham. Well done. Samantha Hurd. Kadajatu Kamara. Erani Kibuka Muzoka. Jennifer Lawrenson. Anne-Marie Lee. Wheelie Lewis. Charlotte Little. Jaspal Lote. Angela Maguire. Anita Maraj. Mairead Markey. Michael Martini. Judith Mberry. Marie Meakin. Erica Medley. Agatha Mruz. Shagayung Nasiri Kanga. Kimberly Nicholson. Mohammed Nubu Mutbusi. Martin Nagambu. Anita Osborne. Olivia Pierce. Helena Potts. Yvonis Purni. Faith Powley. Claire Pendergast. Harriet Price. Katrina Rash. Katie Ricketts. The following graduand has also been awarded a faculty prize, the Outstanding Achievement Award in Pre-Qualifying Nursing for a student who has demonstrated overall excellence in the programme of study, Rita Sarfo. Abby Sellers. Michelle Smith. Nisha Susheta. Amanpreet Shran. Ella Stiles. Stephanie Storer. Stevie Strutton. Sophie Tennant. Laurie Beth Tom. Roseanne Wallace. Zanetta Wolanska. Yvonne Wright. Cordelia Mungwangi. Now for the Diploma in Higher Education in Nursing. Mariam Abdullahi. Weenie Abra. Rashida Akule Mohammed. Belinda Adu. Asante Aduse Awosu. Sinab Ahmed. Yasmin Ahmed. Mobeen Akram. Crystalline Alcazar. Sajada Ali. Sabaya Ali. Valerie Olete. Leopoldo Amparo. Emily Ayi. Indrani Balkaran. Tina Ballinger. Karina Barry. Shireen Bates. Kate Beach. Sebli Begum. Alam Beret. Binu Batri. Felicia Boateng. Alberta Brown Morgan. Gemma Bull. Marie Casey. Jasa Castada. Michelle Kaiser. Veronica Shimbeva. Faye Christie. Danielle Cole. Carl Collins. Karen Michelle Cooney. Sarah Cox. Gemma Dean. Esther Dubiwa. Diana Egimuso. Kerry Eichenberger. Theo Emode. Amina Eshiba. Molly Evans. Natalie Evans. Nadine French. Agatha Flisiak. Charlotte Francis. Martin Frimpong. Fiona Gallagher. Glenda Gannon. Amelia Gettings. Anupama Gamiri. Naomi Greenyer. Sarah Grogan. Sabrina Gnu. Eleanor Gueza. Leanne Headlam. Paulette Henry. Monique Higgins Semple. Clarice Hove. Damilola Igan. Dahlia Innes. Natalie Jacobs. Abibatu Jallo. Horace James. Emily Joliffe. Bisharu Jamali. Ikram Jamali. Janet Keenan. Tina Kelly. Amy Kent. Everjoy Karangwa. Dijana Lapukas. Kirsty Lawley.
Sun Linton, Deborah Long, Louisa Lunny, Liz Mayna, Gracia Malunga, Catherine Manning, the following student has been awarded the annual Hannah Evans Prize for a student nurse who has demonstrated excellence in clinical practice. Karen Manning. Elizabeth Mapalisa. Rebecca Mason. Rebecca McNamara. Novella Merchant. Layla Mohammed. Holly Morrell. Sandra Moran Sanderson. Samu Kalisiwe Moyo. Tandiwe Mepazori. Patience Muchabaiwa. Ruth Monday. Manuela Mundu. Christopher Mupambiriri. Helen Musa. Cordelia Mushariwa. Nimco Nageye. Tobehili Lavu. Stacey Nevitt. Monica Unjia. Mercy Yaguia. Rambitsai Yashanu. Precious Neoni. Victoria Apuku Agemang. Gladys Asagi. Eben Osas. Cynthia Ose Asafo. Marilyn Pajiji. Arti Patel. Lourdes Puertas Lopez. Joanna Carrido. Lacey Quigley. Amelia Raz. Beth Rathmel. Hilaire Reid. Natalie Renault. Frank Sanhanga. Irene Sendergrand. Sabina Shah. Norma Sabanda. Caroline Semende. Alia Sadar. Claire Smith. Paul Smith. Elizabeth Stone. Shirley Stone. Chimwemwe Sakali. Marnie Summers. Ivona Shigelska. Inga Spiegel. Katie Terry. Naomi Thompson. Christina Tierney. Stephanie Timms. Kate Tyson. Winnie Wengendo. Danielle West. Rhea Wilkins. Louis William. Raymond Williams. Anne Wilson. Carol Wilson. The Diploma of Higher Education in Health-Related Care, Nkumbu Makondia Ferguson. Foundation Degree Science Assistant Practitioner, Anne Belair. Marjorie Brown. Joseph Mafuba. Nicola Mills. Shondell Torrington. We now present to you students who are receiving awards from various programs in this ceremony. Diploma of Higher Education in Nursing, Juliana Kasumu. Keisho Gashego. Foundation Degree Science Assistant Practitioner, Mishek Manyangi. Diploma of Higher Education in Nursing, Taina Katalai. Helen Francis. Bachelor of Science Honours Nursing, and Anab Abdulli. Diploma of Higher Education in Nursing, Zara Hassan. Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Anne Patricia Robertson. Diploma of Higher Education in Nursing, Pamela Marozzi. Diploma of Higher Education in Nursing, Sabra Hafid. Sue West, the Dean of Students, Programmes and Quality, will now introduce the special awards.
It is my privilege to be able to make awards to academic members of staff whose students feel have inspired them during their time at Bucks New University. These awards are based solely on the testimonials provided by graduating students sitting here today. I would like to thank you all who submitted the nominations. Although there are many who are worthy of this award, the following colleagues will receive the Most Inspiring Tutor Award today. Would the following academic colleagues please come forward to receive your awards from the Vice-Chancellor? For Children's Nursing, Shirley Burke. For Mental Health Nursing, David Rawcliffe. Thank you. Professor Ruth Farwell will now introduce the Honorary Award.
I'm delighted to be performing my next duty this morning, but at the same time just a little saddened as well. Roy Darby has already been introduced to you as the retiring chair of the University's Council. His last day in that office was the 31st of July, so this is the last official event that we will be doing together, and for that reason I feel a little tinge of regret. Roy has become a good friend, both of the university and me personally, even if sometimes a critical friend, as you would expect of the chairman of the board, but we'll miss him. A qualified accountant, Roy joined the University's Council shortly after retiring from his post as Chief Executive of the South Buckinghamshire NHS Trust in 2003. He was previously Chief Executive of the Wickham Health Authority, a post which he had held since 1985. He rejoined the NHS on a part-time basis from 2004 to 2009 as a director of the National Cancer Peer Review Programme. He was also a trustee of the Child Bereavement Trust, a national charity based in Buckinghamshire. Following his appointment to council, Roy joined its Finance Committee, and as a member of that and of the then Human Resources Committee, he was a natural candidate for membership of the New Resources Committee when the committees were restructured. He was also a member of Remuneration, Governance and Honorary Awards Committee. He was elected as chair in 2008. During Roy's time in office, he has participated in perhaps one of the most eventful, or at least fast-moving chapters in the history of the university. But as a council member, it was more than just participation. He was also instrumental in the decision-making, which brought about at a strategic level. For example, student numbers have increased, full university status has been achieved, new student residences built, and there has been the major redevelopment of the campus in the centre of High Wycombe, the sale of 2 other sites, and the consolidation in High Wycombe and in Uxbridge. Despite all these achievements, I know that Roy found his most memorable years were those spent once the campus changes had been made, because by then he could focus on the student experience issues rather than buildings. For obvious reasons, more recently, he was pleased to see the coming to fruition under David Symes' leadership of the university's ambitious plans to expand its healthcare provision, particularly moving beyond London into Buckinghamshire and the Thames Valley. Roy has been a very skillful and wise chair, doesn't interfere in the day-to-day operations, and when something doesn't go quite according to plan, he provides very helpful advice and above all else is very calm. He's never tried to steer the university to have impossible dreams. Nevertheless, he is hugely committed to making sure the university gets to where it should be and help it get there, I thank him for his strong personal commitment to the university's vision and purpose, to being teaching-led, working with employers, and widening participation. Roy has given unstintingly of his time to the university. I've never known him to say that he wasn't able to get involved when he was called upon. Roy received an honorary doctorate of the university in 2002, awarded before he joined the council. We are now delighted to be conferring on him an honorary fellowship and to have instituted the annual student prize in his name. Roy, you've been great to work with and great for the university. Thank you for all the time you've given to us as Chair of Council and your unerring belief in the university and also me. Roy Darby, on behalf of the Council and the Senate of Buckinghamshire New University, it is a pleasure to confer on you an honorary fellowship of the university.
Mayor of High Wycombe, Chair of the Governing Council, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. It is 10 years since I attended a graduation ceremony in a civilian capacity. I have to say, this is a splendid demob outfit that I've been provided with. As Ruth has already mentioned, during my time on the Governing Council of the university, I have seen and been part of a number of quite substantial changes. And these have included, and Professor Farwell didn't mention this one, but the appointment of our current Vice-Chancellor, Ruth Farwell, who has been an inspirational leader. The achievement of full university status, the creation of the new Uxbridge campus, which is very relevant today, and the building of the Gateway building in High Wycombe. We have made changes to the faculties and created many new partnerships. And of course, there was the introduction of the big deal for students. All of these things were done for the benefit of one very special group of people. You, the students who have graduated today. Not just you, but all your fellow students who have gone before and will follow after you. Because you are the lifeblood of the university. It would not exist without you. And as you are the lifeblood, then the heart of the university is the team of academic, managerial, and support staff who dedicate themselves to enabling you to fulfill your potential and prepare yourselves for the challenges you will face in your future careers. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with this very talented and special team, many of whom are present here today. It has been personally enriching to be part of the development of the university, and it's always been a pleasure to be present at these joyous occasions. For me, that has been reward enough. The establishment of an annual nursing award in my name is something I never expected, and I'm truly humbled and honoured by it. I'm also deeply grateful for the award of a university fellowship, which I shall treasure, and this, together with the nursing award, will be my continuing link with the university. I want to say a very sincere thank you to all at BNU for what you have given me. And if you, the graduates, feel the same way that I do, could I ask you to join me in expressing appreciation to Professor Ruth Farwell and her team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Roy, and indeed a well-deserved honour, and thank you for all you've done for our profession and indeed for establishing so positively the faculty and the university. That now concludes today's presentation of awards. It's my privilege, colleagues, to introduce our guest speaker today, and our guest speaker is Dame Professor Christine Beasley. Dame Christine has an impressive CV that is hard to summarise in a short introduction, as I'm sure you'll understand. But just a few thoughts to share with you by way of introduction. Chris has made an outstanding contribution in nursing in the United Kingdom over many sustained and sometimes challenging years, seeing many governments come and go, but steering steadfastly through to the true value and mission of her profession and for the better benefit of our public. She culminated her appointment as Chief Nursing Officer for England at the Department of Health in 2004, a post which Chris held until her retirement in June of this year. Her many achievements in her role included increasing the capacity of nursing, midwifery, allied health professions and care scientific workforces and members, modernising professional practice and increasing, and very important to Chris's heart, user and public involvement, and of course, the patient experience. She was also responsible, as well she remembers, for reducing health-acquired infections through her leadership of the Cleaner Hospitals programme, and I have to say quite seriously, as colleagues here will bear witness, through her leadership, and that of many colleagues here, including our visiting professors, we've actually saved lives, and that's quite clear and indicative of as we move forward. Thank you for that, Chris. On a personal note, I would like just to acknowledge at this point that Chris was responsible for introducing a graduate nursing profession. And Chris, your faith and belief in the partnership and integration of practice with university and evidence-based practice and learning will be a true testimony to our profession as we go forward today. And indeed, our graduates today pay witness to that. I'd just like us to thank Chris for bringing us together today in such a positive way to move forward. Thank you, Chris. I'm just going to say just before then, in just a few thoughts just before we move, and Chris, thank you very much. But I would like to say at this point that Chris was awarded her CBE in 2002 and appointed Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire in the Queen's Birthday Honours List, a Fellow of the Queen's Nursing Institute, and a former trustee of Marie Curie Cancer Care, holding a number of honorary degrees, particularly an honorary professorship in nursing from the University of West London, and indeed a Pro-Chancellor at the university. Chris, what can we say but to welcome you and thank you.
Well, thank you, David, and thank you for that lovely introduction. A time of lots of new beginnings for many of us here in the audience, those of you that are just graduating, and certainly for me. I'm absolutely delighted to be here this morning as the new chair of council for Bucks New University. Like most of us when we start new things, it's a mixture of excitement and apprehension, so I'm very excited about it. And then when I look at the person I have to follow in terms of Roy and all that he's done, I feel fairly apprehensive. He's going to be a very hard act to follow. But he's left the most fantastic legacy that you've experienced as students, and I know I'm going to be able to call on as we take the university forward together for the next phase. So thank you, Roy, for all that you've done. And I'm very privileged to be following somebody so good in terms of so many aspects of both his strategic work, but most of all, I think, of his real demonstration of care, and concern for the students that come through the university. So I'm very excited about it, and as I say, a little bit apprehensive. And you know when you start something new, I mean, you yourselves would have had it, you decide which area you want to work in, mental health or surgery or medicine, children, whatever it is. And people always say to you, why have you chosen that? Why that? And people have said to me, you know, why Bucks? Why Bucks University? And for me, I think already I've seen in such a short while, and in my knowledge of Bucks before I came into this particular post, and you've demonstrated it this morning, Bucks is a really friendly and I think very welcoming and inclusive university. And it's also, as you can see by its growth over the last few years, very ambitious in the right sense of ambition, not ambition just to say we're great, but ambitions for our students and ambition for the local health economy and other economies in Buckinghamshire and beyond. So I was very attracted to coming to Bucks. It felt to me like a fantastic place, and I was very honoured to be invited. It seems to me like an enormously good place to study. Everybody seems to have survived and not very happy. And it seems to me a very good place to work. And some of the awards I've seen this week from students for their tutors just demonstrate what fantastic body you have of lecturers and people that support you. So I'm very pleased at sort of my new start. And there's much to celebrate, isn't it? In that, whether you absolutely love or hate sport or whatever, it would be very difficult to be untouched by the Olympics and the Paralympics and all the sort of excitement that that's brought to us over the last few months. It's made us forget, really, that for many of us to forget how tough life can be in some instances. By some amazement, London hasn't fallen apart. You know, the underground still seems to be working, and it's been a really sort of feel-good factor. And I was lucky because I've retired in the summer, so I've had a lot of time off, which has been fantastic. And I spent some time, a month or so, going to Thailand. And you know, as I talked to people there, they'd say, "Where do you come from?" England. Where do you come from? London. And their unanimous response was always, "Oh, the Olympics," and much sort of, you know, joy. So it spread across the world. You felt like it was a good thing. So I make no apology for starting off by saying there's much to celebrate, and there's much to celebrate today. For you as graduates, well, you've made it. You've survived, haven't you? You've got here. Times when perhaps you didn't think you would, when you thought, I can't do another assignment to save my life, the sort of clinical placements that weren't always easy. I never wanted to be a nurse in the first place. It's all too difficult, you know. I don't want to do it anymore. But here you are. You've survived and you've graduated. And you've not only graduated, and that's such an enormous achievement in itself, but you've joined a fantastic profession. And I use those words very advisedly. Don't let anybody tell you differently. It is a fantastic profession. I started so long ago, it was almost with Florence herself. And it's, you know, I wouldn't have said that every day of my life I didn't have some difficulties, but all through the years, I've never regretted what I started out on when I was a student nurse. I trained at the Royal London Hospital in Whitechapel, and it was just, it's been a fantastic life for me. Because I think as a nurse, we recognise we are very privileged to help and care and support people when they're at their most vulnerable. And I use the words very genuinely. It is a real privilege to be able to be in that position, and that's what nursing is. That's what a lot of healthcare is, and that's an enormous privilege. But for nurses themselves, there are so many opportunities for you to work in different places, in different clinical areas, to learn and to work. And I think that's an enormous privilege as you start off. I guess, you know, I have lots of friends I've made over the years in health and social care services and in other areas. And nurses have gone on to do all sorts of things. They've gone on to be chief executives. They've gone on to lead the profession. They've gone on to do other things. And almost, I think, without, I can't think of one who hasn't said, no matter what they're doing, still at the heart of who they are is that they're a nurse, and that has impacted on whatever else they're doing. So I get, one of the things that irritates me is when people always say to me, well, I used to be a nurse. Now, I do understand that, you know, there's some sort of different issues about where you are in clinical practice. But when I used to be in my previous job, people used to say to me, when did you last do anything sort of helpful, like, you know, when did you actually last nurse? And I always used to say, yesterday. So yesterday for me, I was here all day at the graduation ceremony here, and I live in Ealing, and I went home on the train, and when I was going home, the phone rang, and it was my daughter-in-law who said, oh, Mum, can you come on your way home? They live near me, because my granddaughter, who's 6.5, has had a very badly infected finger, and the dressing needed changing, and she said she's locked herself in her bedroom, and she won't come out because she doesn't want anybody to go near her finger. So can you come and see what you can do with this dressing? So I called on the way home and spent an hour, you know, getting her out of the bedroom, getting her to tell me why she didn't want anybody to touch it. Partly it was hurt, but she was absolutely convinced that if you took the dressing off, her whole finger would fall off, you know. So we spent a merry sort of, with a bit of bribery and a lot of sweets and all those sorts of things, and in the end managed to get the dressing done, and I'm really pleased to say her finger didn't fall off, so I've still got some skills left. You know, so what did I do yesterday? Yes, I used some of those skills around nursing that I have developed. And then at home yesterday evening, a phone call came from a friend of mine who said, oh, I'm glad you're in because I've been prescribed this medication. And she had this long chat she wanted to about whether she thought she should take it or not. And, you know, I was desperately trying to watch the Olympics, but thinking she obviously needs to talk. You know, so when was I last doing something as a nurse? Well, it was yesterday. And so for those of you that hope someday that you may move away from it, let me tell you, you never will. You will always be practicing in some way. However, it isn't always fantastic, and you wouldn't believe me if I stood here and said it's all absolutely wonderful. Today's a very sunny day, both out there and inside, and within ourselves, a really celebratory day. But it isn't always fantastic. Sometimes as individuals, it's really difficult. Sometimes the system or the place we're working doesn't help us to be the very best we can be. You know, some of our organisations need to be a lot better. They are not as focused on some of the things that around giving patients the best experience. They need to be better. It's hard to nurse in those circumstances. Sometimes it's just hard. Nursing is a very challenging and difficult job, both physically, intellectually and emotionally, and it's hard. And sometimes it's hard because you read and hear about things around the profession that make it very, very difficult. So when you read across the papers of callous care, of the sorts of care that you can hardly believe anybody would be part of, let alone a fellow nurse, I feel ashamed. I feel on behalf of nursing and of the patients we care for, I feel very bad about that. Then that isn't a fantastic day. And one of the dangers, I think, is that then the media, you know, it goes on and on and on, and people then seek to find very, very quick solutions to it all. And I think when we look towards modern nursing and what modern nursing is about, some of it is very similar to how it's always been. When I was still in the department, we did some work with patients, communities, nurses, student nurses, a whole range of people to say, you know, what bits of nursing do we need to change and what some of the things we don't. And I just want to read to you something that came from those conversations in terms of what people told us. Patients told us that they want to know that the nurse is there unconditionally for them, especially when faced with fear, pain or loss. They want to know that nurses' actions will be in their best interests and will help them get better, keep well, live life to the full, or help towards a better death. And that's probably been the same for the last 100 years. How you outwork it is rather different to how you do it now. But that's what people want. It's what I want, it's what you want, if you're in that position. And the other thing that staff and patients talked to us about was something which says nursing may not be always easy to describe, but patients know when they get good nursing and when they don't. They know the difference. Nursing requires a high-level set of skills and understanding, which taken separately may seem commonplace and undemanding, but combined as a whole is complex and powerful. Nursing is more than the sum of its parts, and any health system needs nurses who are intellectually able, emotionally aware, and who can combine technical skills with a deep understanding and ability to care as one human to another. That's the sort of nursing profession you're entering and the sort of basis that Bucks has given you. And I feel sure that as you will go on into the future, you will take some of those things with you. So just finally from me, you're sitting here now today starting off, but you're already leaders. You're already very significant leaders of the profession. And I guess I'd perhaps give you 2 or 3 thoughts as you go away. Certainly as leaders, my view would be never stop being curious. Any of you that saw the opening of the Paralympics, you'll have seen Stephen Hawkins in that opening ceremony say, don't stop being curious, look at the stars. And they were referring to all the scientific and technological advancements that had happened over the last few years. I think I would say, don't stop being curious. Make sure you always look at your patients and your community. If you look at them, you will learn so much about what needs to change and what needs to stay the same. So never stop doing that. Sadly, it's the never stop learning bit, isn't it? Not just that. So those of you that are sitting here think, thank goodness, never again, you know. It isn't just about academic learning, although that's very important. It's about learning a whole range of sets of skills, improving your empathy, improving your social intelligence, a whole range of things, as well as your academic knowledge. We're a profession that we owe it to our patients to carry on learning. And then thirdly, I think let's be frightened, as sometimes we have, of making sure that we, as we learn and as we practice, we use the very best evidence to give the people we care for the very best deal. And we've also not been always as good in nursing at making sure and using that evidence that we measure what we do. So you can't measure everything, but you can measure quite a lot, which says this is what works. Being curious, learning, using that evidence, I think, will mean that the sort of quality of care that our patients and our communities want will always be delivered for them. A few years ago, when we had the previous government and they were producing policy, they made, having talked to patients, having talked to staff, they agreed on a sort of definition of quality, and it's there still in the new Health Act, and I think it's a pretty good rule of thumb, because what people said is quality of care in a way is sort of simple to describe. If I'm ill or if I'm needing help or support, I want it to be safe, I want it to be effective, and I want my experience to be good. And that's still as good now as it was 10 years ago, and it's a really good rule of thumb for us to practice on. And of all of those things, of course you need to be safe, and of course you want your treatment to be effective. Many people still give us the benefit of the doubt and think that that will happen for them, and in most times it does. But what people go away with is the experience that they've had. And although we are part of an enormously large healthcare team with other clinicians, other managers, all of which come to make it a really good experience for patients, because nurses are sort of there 24/7, in most clinical settings, they're the touchstone that patients go away with. They go away with thinking about their experience, and what they see in their lens as they look at it is how it was with the nurses that looked after them. You know, that's good or bad, but that's how it is. So it's really important for us as nurses that we aim to give that really, really good experience. A few months ago, my eldest son was in hospital having surgery, planned surgery. I went in to see him. He was late back from theatres, you know, but that's fine. And the nurse said to me, just wait, he's soon coming back. So he came back from theatres a bit groggy with the anaesthetic. I was sort of sitting in the corner, the nurse, it's a very good story, it's not a bad story. The nurse was fantastic at getting him settled in his bed, getting him comfortable, but also doing a whole range of other things, look at his bloods, his oxygen, a whole range of other things that were related to the surgery that he had. And when I went to pick him up the next day, we were leaving and we got into the car, I said to him, oh, how was it, how are you feeling? He said, oh, I'm fine. He said, they were fantastic, Mum. And he mentioned the name of the nurse. He said, she was so kind to me. He didn't notice that she'd checked his blood and she'd done all those things which kept him safe and effective. What he noticed was that she was so kind to him. You know, now he's, you know, young, bright, young man. But that's what he said, and that's what we all feel. So that bit about experience is such a big thing for us as nurses. So I finished today with a quote that I often used when I was working, and it still resonates for me, from an American writer who always said, aim for absolute excellence, not relative quality. If you don't aim for excellence, you're always going to hit low. I have absolutely no doubt that as graduates of Bucks University, you're already in that class, and you will be the people out there leading the way and absolutely demonstrating that you're aiming for excellence for both your patients, the people you serve, and yourself. So enjoy it as you go forward into the profession. Thank you very much.
Chair of Council, Dame Chris, thank you very much indeed for a most excellent address. And in an interview published in the Sunday Times last year, Chris was asked to give her best career advice. She's given some now, but she said at that time, grab the opportunities, don't stay in your comfort zone, and go for stretch. She also spoke about the need to combine academic skills, critical thinking, and the ability to deal with complex problems with good, solid experience. Your career, Chris, is a testament to the value of that approach, and indeed you've shared today so many of those pearls of wisdom with us. You mentioned that we should look to the stars and take them forward. Remember, stars are there for a very long time, but the moon can wax and wane, and what's important with nurses, you're always there. That's what's important. You're in the eye of key people who need you, and our intelligence has told us in this university that we should be providing a curriculum of learning that integrates intelligent care with compassion. And that's, I think, a message that we would all give you as you move forward and as you enter your and our profession, that you're here for the long haul. Learning continues. We learn constantly, not just from our colleagues here, but we learn from the people we work with daily, our colleagues and the people with whom we care and for whom we care, our patients and our service users. And I think it's fair to say that you're going to be moving forward into a world of practice without walls or without sheer definition. Working in hospitals, of course, but much more importantly, working with people wherever their care needs to be transacted in active partnership. So we wish you well for your career. We thank you, Chris, for your inspiring talk and for your leadership of our profession. And I now move forward to raise a formal vote of thanks with you. Can I ask you all to stand, please? They're today's graduates, I should say only. Thank you very much. Now, I'd like you to turn around, please, and face the audience behind you. And then to take off your hats and raise them high in the air. And 3 cheers for those who support you. Well done. Now, if you'd like to turn round, please. And a big cheer for my colleagues who I thank on your behalf as well. Thank you, team, for a wonderful job well done. Thank you. And then, in the true spirit of nursing, we can't do it properly, but the big group hug for yourselves. Well done. Thank you very much. Do sit down. Do sit down again. Thank you for the final part of the closure. I'd like to express our thanks to our support colleagues who've made the ceremony today possible, both those working in the faculty and in the university. A very big thank you to you all for an excellent job well done. Thank you very much indeed. We're now concluding the ceremony, and it's my pleasure to invite you, following the closure, to join our graduates in the marquee in the main university for refreshments. I declare the degree congregation an awards ceremony